Do you know the true meaning of Christmas? Is it about the presents? Is it about the gifts? To you, is it about spending time with your family? Or is it about the whole story and the birth of Jesus Christ?
Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will give birth to a son.
Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Comley-White. Before we do get started again, I'm going to ask you please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. The reason is YouTube is being a little bit tricky and they are starting to remove dormant accounts or whatever. They try doing a cleanup and it is actually impacting their subscriber list and the subscribers that many channels as well as mine is actually having. So I'm going to try and invite you to please, if you have not subscribed, it's a simple little thing. Just push the button right here at the bottom and you'll get access to more of the videos that we release as soon as they come out. So you don't want to miss out on what's coming up very, very soon in 2025. So yeah, keep a lookout for that as well. Right, now, today's movie is, I left it to the last. And the reason why I left it to the last moment is because it is actually an incredible movie. It's one of the most touching nativity movies or stories that I've actually seen that's been put out there. And there are so many out there as well that are coming up that I haven't seen yet. Still want to go and look at them and watch them and delve into those. But the nativity story itself, to me, is one of the most incredible depictions of how the birth of Jesus actually happened and the struggles that Mary and Joseph went to and the political aspects of everything that happened with King Herod and all the other religious figures that we all know and grew up with reading the Bible and all the different trials and tribulations that went on to actually give birth to Jesus Christ. And it's incredible. It just brings you to a different aspect of who Mary was and how Joseph had to deal with the controversy, if you want to call it that, of having a wife who's now pregnant and the claim that it's a God's or godly child and it's not actually his, but also how he stepped up and said, not a problem, I'm going to take the role of dad and father and look after this newborn child that isn't actually mine. So it's so interesting to see the different dynamics between all the different characters and all the characters that we have read in the Bible and that we have been taught at school and at Sunday schools and at home and also during the Christmas period, which a lot of people actually forget about. Everyone gets into the hype and the spirit of the decorations, the lights, the Christmas carols, the Christmas songs that are out there as well, and the buying of the presents and what present must you buy and the politics that goes on with families and Christmas dinners and all those other aspects. And I think we actually forget about the most fundamental element of Christmas, and that is the birth of Jesus, and why it is such an important event that is so valuable to us because of what he did, knowing that his life is actually going to be taken for us. But that's completely down the line. And a lot of people tend to mix the whole Christmas reason with the crucifixion reason. And then they start depicting Christmas with the cross and Jesus on the cross. Those are two separate events completely. And I think it's time that we start getting back to celebrating what Christmas is and about Christmas without mixing the two, because we can't. And if you think about it, 33 years later, that is when Jesus actually died on the cross for us. And he went through a lot of torment and second guessing and wondering, should we do it and all the kind of stuff. But that's a completely different story as to what actually happened. And that is how Joseph and Mary had to go back to Bethlehem because of the census that was happening. And they needed to register where they were so they could register and be part of the count, because King Herod knew about this particular king that was going to be born. And he was so intimidated and scared and didn't want to give up his reign to a new king that could be taking over, or a new heir to the region. And they traveled practically in secrecy, trying to hide who they were and where they're from, to just try get to where they needed to do to fill in the census to say that they are a citizen of this particular area and move on. And that is when the actual birth started happening. And we all know the story. They couldn't find a place to give birth. All the inns were full. And the reason why they were full, not many people actually can think about it. Why were all the locations, the inns, the different rooms, let's say, or the houses? Now, it's not the same kind of inns as what we are used to. Obviously, it's a much older era, and they're not these fancy inns. It's just these rooms that are suitable for someone to sleep over for the night and get a meal and a nice bath, if you want to call it that. They couldn't get into those inns because of the influx of people that were coming to the region for the census. Now, I'm not trying to preach to you, because I don't know enough of how it all happened and why it all happened and what all the details about it. I'm just trying to say that this was a huge, huge moment in our life. And I think people are starting to forget it, or they have forgotten it. And I think it's about time that we dig deep inside and say, as a Christian, is this what I believe? And can I get back to my roots? And this is kind of what's happened with Mary and Joseph. They went back to their roots, in their hometown. And during that stage, they were forced to go into a stable, all right? And there was no bed and there's nothing. I can only imagine, ladies out there, imagine how difficult giving birth in that era. Now, increase the difficulty on that in giving birth without any help or support from any midwife, without any vet around, you in a stable with animals walking around you, and your child has to be put down in a manger. And a manger is not this nice, cozy little bed. It's where animals eat out of. It's a food trough. And they put the baby in there. And it's so touching, the way that it was such a difficult entry into this world and a worse exit out of our world. And guess what? Who's it for? Us. You and me. So I think the only thing that we can do right now is take a moment to think, what is the reason? What is Christmas all about? And another thing that you can even do is, when you're setting up the table, have an empty chair there. Have a spare chair. And let that be for whoever you want it to be. It could be a lost soul. It could be a memory of a loved one who's passed. And then that can be the welcome chair for them to actually be part of the table. That could even be for Jesus if you want him to be. And it would be something that I think would be quite special, subtle, but special, that you can do in your heart, that you know that you're opening the door and you're setting up a place for those loved ones who have passed to be back at your table through such a joyous and amazing time. All right, everybody, that's the Christmas countdown. I think it ended on a very important video and movie, and I'm going to ask you, please go watch it. If you haven't watched it now, even if it's after Christmas, just go watch it, and watch it with an open heart. I guarantee you're going to love it, and it's going to touch you, and you're going to get tears. Like, it's getting quite terrified right now. But yes, you're definitely going to enjoy it. And let's get back to what Christmas is. And let's keep in mind all those that aren't able to enjoy the amazing foods, the presents, the expensive gifts, and also start realizing that it's not about the gifts and the amazing foods. Those are just joys that we can use to celebrate what Christmas is. Oh, one other point. I always used to see, when I was growing up, now it was a hard thing to do because I was complex most of the time, and it was something I wanted to try to do. But then I started thinking, I can't because I'm a human, and that's a useless excuse in my view. But anyway, the point that I always used to try and make is have those presents, even though they were for me. I used to say that these were Jesus' birthday presents. And that's what I thought when I was much younger. Maybe it's the same, because so be that. All right, everybody, have a great one. Have an amazing, blessed Christmas. Amazing time with your friends and family. And keep the spirit of Christmas here and in here. And have fun. And be
You're
safe,
watching Rocking
and
at the
have an
Movies with
amazing
Shane
time.
Comley-White. Don't
Merry
forget
Christmas,
to like
everybody.
and subscribe
Bye.
and leave me a comment.